No.
Okay. First of all, you guys are here because we are introducing and building a culture of empathy, and you signed up for it and you like to be part of it. Now, as you may have heard in the introduction video of Edwin, that we really are prone to an area of that we have empathy deficit. And what that means is that humans have great need to be heard and to matter, to be part of a community, to communicate in a way that it is satisfactory. Now, of course, I would like to hear from you guys what brought you here. What is your need in that? What are your expectations? What are your wishes? And also, what are your concerns? Now, I will make a circle, and we will do a lot of circles from now on. One person speaks, and in this, for this exercise, I will write down what your expectations are. So, meanwhile, and I will just let you speak until you're finished. I will not yet do an empathic listening. So you can talk till you feel that you're done. Okay. For me, for example, why I was involved in building a culture of empathy is that empathy is one of my topics of the last 28 years. I really love for people to feel for each other, to understand, and to come to a way that they can go through conflicts with understanding and empathy. And I was a trainer for 27 years, and now that was always live in a session in a building somewhere, and now it's online. So I'm really thrilled to be part of this group, and I'm looking forward to have a great time with you all. Who would like to go next?
I can go. Okay. That's okay.
And you can also introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm Edwin Rutch, and yeah, I've been, like you, very interested in empathy, in that, you know, I just see it that the world has so many different problems, and that I just kind of, as I look at it, like every problem seems at its core to be sort of an empathy problem. It's like, and that's I think one of the main reasons is that I just see empathy as a central problem solving process, or, you know, way of really integrating and connecting with people. And I think from a kind of another level is my parents had been in World War II in Germany, and then they immigrated to the United States. And I always heard these stories about just the horrors they went through. You know, like my father, he was, you know, his family was near the Russian border on the German side when the Russians came in, and you know, during the war, and everybody in his family were shot, and he ended up going into a Russian concentration camp, and then on my mother's side, it was sort of a similar situation with all the women being kind of gang raped and stuff like that. So I just heard this trauma and this, you know, kind of just, you know, what people went through in World War II. And it seems to me that at the core is an empathy deficit. And so I think part of the, you know, is just hearing all those stories, seeing how, you know, these things happen in society, and we see it now with wars in, you know, in the Middle East, and, you know, in Africa and everywhere else. So it just seems to me that empathy is kind of the solution to all that. We need to transform society, and so I'm just trying to learn everything I can about empathy and an empathic way of being, and really how to promote it. So I'm really hoping just to learn and to deepen my skills here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, is it okay if I take some notes too? Is that?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
My name is Bill Filler. I'm a retired special education teacher. For 37 years, I taught severely emotionally disturbed kids. And essentially what we did is we had sort of like a slice of all of the most difficult problems in society, uh, attention deficit disorder, drugs, violence, uh, people on the autistic spectrum. And my job was to try to create a functional society there, or a functional small family. And I agree with Edwin that at the core, it's an empathy problem. And that many times, if people were, or kids, supposedly seriously challenged, were given a way to access a way to communicate their feelings and would then feel heard, and then also back and forth, then we'd see a lot of these social dysfunctions melt away. And so you build structure and trust that way. I also had the privilege of listening to a Holocaust survivor, a Jewish man who was in his 80s, who was saw his family gunned down and then joined the resistance. And at one point, he himself had to kill innocents. And I do not judge him. I think there are many people alive because of what he did. But on the other hand, I could not miss the message that he gave me. And the message was, don't put people in these situations. He had done the same thing that the Germans had done, and he regretted it. Not judging him, but he regretted it. And so that's what I think a culture of empathy, does. We get to that, people feel heard, and people are not put in these horrible, horrible situations. I think we need to do it to survive as a species. That's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Thank you.
I'll jump in. My name is Jessica Vogt. I'm originally from France, but I live in Toronto right now in Canada. And I had a change of career a couple of years ago. I'm from a librarian background, and now I want to be a coach and I'm a coach and facilitator. And through a lot of research personally, and to want to know what I wanted to do in the world, what was my contribution, I discovered nonviolent communication. And through that, I was really, again, through a lot of research, I came to the same conclusion that Bill and Edwin, that it seems that the best antidote right now for a lot of societies' dysfunction and difference in power is empathy. And that's why I'm here. I want to learn for myself. I want to become more aware, and I would like to teach it as well and spread the word. Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Bob Brown, and I've been involved with the Empathy Tent for a little over a year. And practicing empathy has allowed me to discover more and more of my inherent goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past year or so, I've become a much better listener. And I find that when I'm listening carefully and looking at someone carefully, they talk and they tell their stories. And what a privilege and an honor it is to listen to people's stories from an empathic standpoint. And so I'm so grateful to Edwin and now you, CIELJA, for helping me hone my skills and be a better me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. I would like indeed to ask one more short question is, what would need to happen for you in these 6 weeks that you really think, well, that was worthwhile investing my time and energy? Bob, you mentioned already, you said grateful helping me to be more of...
Yes, I will be happy if I can improve a little bit as an empathic listener.
As empathic listener. Okay. Thank you. Jessica.
Thanks. Similar to me as well. I would like to improve a lot. And I would like also to observe the process, because like I said, I'd love to do that myself. And so, like I mentioned, Celia, I'm inspired by you putting that together. I'm not really good at creating outlines, so I'm curious to see how to create something like that. And I think particularly one of the skills I really would like to own in the empathic listening is to stay in the listening when I'm in conflict, when there's strong emotions, and I feel I'm gonna get close to lose myself and go back to the judgment and like yelling or whatever, even though I haven't done that in a while, but I know I can be very good at it. And especially when I go back to my family in France. And so I'd like to see if I can improve that particular, like how to stay open when I myself want to shut down so eagerly.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, we will address it.
Loving. Awesome.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. It is in session 5, however.
Cool.
Conflicts in listening. Yeah, we'll get that. Thank you. Bill.
Sure. Well, I would like to also improve, but more, I listened to a guy who talked about all the religions of the world. And he said, they're all like nice little garden apartments surrounding the same beautiful garden. And we're all looking out on the same garden. And so in a way, I look at each one of us as a different philosopher, So I look, I basically am looking forward to kind of looking at the same garden that I'm looking at from your perspective, from Celia's perspective.
Okay.
And then growing that way.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Edwin.
Well, it's great being last because I get to hear all these other ones. And I really resonate with everything everyone has said, especially the Jessica saying, improve a lot. I really enjoy that to learn and grow. And but it's everything everyone else has said, and also the area about the felt experience. So how do I can do reflection, really, really pretty well. I think generally pretty well, can always improve. But it's how do I identify and articulate the felt experience that I have in the moment, and how there's an identification and an expression of that feeling. And, how do I do that as well as be aware of what other people are feeling and be able to identify that? And then also to navigate the actual felt experience. It's like I can do it, sort of reflect or express in words, but can I express the energy and convey the energy of the feeling that I have, to kind of open up the feeling, identify it, and for the feeling to kind of be conveyed, and also to kind of navigate the world of feelings within in an empathic way. So it seems to be my cutting edge is, learning about the feeling aspect. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, wonderful. That all will be addressed. Thank you.
So you better deliver.
Yes.
CIELJA.
Never have asked that question. Okay, you can stop recording here, Edwin.